guys just don't know. I don't know. I'm looking, yeah.
Wow. Marc Clarke, that's classic. I love it.
Welcome to the show. Bootsy Vegas is in the building.
On time.
I'm so excited because we're having Uncle Stan is about to join us. Now, let me tell you about this brother. So this brother right here is, I mean, I'm so excited because, is that, what
I'm sorry.
That
That is saying it, sir.
All right, 21 lashes. This brother is a lifelong friend. You know how you meet people and they change your life?
Oh, wow. Kind of like how I did you, Mark? No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
This brother right here, you know how if I got thrown into the desert and it was it was my last chance to live, Stan is the brother I'm gonna call.
So you wouldn't call me? So you would not call me?
Bootsy, I'll call Stan first. Put it that way.
Hold on, Mark. Before we go, can we give one supreme shout out, me and you together as a team?
Yes.
Happy birthday, Samantha Gunny. We love you.
Oh, happy birthday, Sam. Oh, man. Happy birthday to our girl. Amazing. Amazing. And, man. So you guys are family.
You not calling me. Back to you not calling me if you stuck in that desert. You know what I mean?
No, I'm going to call Stan. You know, in addition to I say Allison's my best friend, but Stan is a close second.
Oh, yeah.
He's on the Mount Rushmore. So, now, and what I love about Stan, well, first of all, let's get him on. Uncle Stan, Stan LeRoy, ladies and gentlemen, joins us. What's up, Stan?
What's up, guys? What's up, bro? How's everything?
Hey, the crazy thing is, we over here talking about you like you're not even around us, man.
Exactly, yeah. Good morning, guys, out there on the East Coast.
And yes, so, Stan, before we get started, I got a spiritual moment I want to share before we get started, Stan. But before we even do that, Stan, I just want to send prayers and thanks to you. The last time Stan was on, he had to deal with the tragedy of losing his brother, and Stan still pushed through and came on and gave us the word. Stan, how are you doing, brother? Since then, you've had other tragedies befall you, and Stan, Stan's the ultimate motivator for me. He's been the ultimate motivator in my life. He's my personal Ray Lewis, my personal Mike Singletary.
Oh wow!
And so, but I've seen Stan have to go through it. So, bruh, how are you doing? And what's the status now? And what's the lessons that I know that we've learned from this?
Oh, hey guys, I'm doing fine, man. Yeah, tragedy strikes everybody, man. It was just my family. It was just our time. You know what I mean? One thing we can't escape is death. You know, we buried my brother that day. We buried my brother 3 weeks ago, and we buried my uncle this past Saturday. You know, he was my favorite uncle because I was named after him, so everybody always had those favorite uncles, so everything's working itself out, man. The Bible says the dead is soon forgotten. Like that means life goes on, so we all got to go that route, man. It's a matter of how soon we go and are we prepared when we go, so
come on now. And Bootsy, ever since I know Stan, I got these jewels all the time, and a workout, and some nutritional advice, and some financial help when a brother needs some. Stan's Superman to me. So Stan and Bootsy, I had a couple things, Bootsy. Yesterday, I kept saying we're expecting a windfall, right? I kept saying we're expecting a windfall. We're expecting a windfall, right? Financial windfall. So first of all, my thought as I was walking today was, we should expect a windfall every day, because what's the opposite, right? What's the opposite, right? So that's number one. Number two, I had to laugh. Now, the reason I was saying that, Bootsy, was we had a guest on. I interviewed a brother, Alex Slocum, with the Gold PX token, right? And it's a whole crypto thing. I won't get into the details, the little details. Here's the big detail. At the end of the day, Alex was on, and he was talking about this token, which of course is, in the crypto world. And he was so those of us who bought a few of the tokens, or bought some bought thousands, some bought 100 at $1 a piece, right? At $1 a piece. Now, we were all looking for June 1st will be the first time we can actually trade. So if we want to trade them in, if we want to keep them, it'll be the first opportunity, right? For those of us who at that time, who talked to Alex. Now, the thing about this Gold PX token that made it special was it basically has five designated values, whereas most of the the tokens go up and down. Alex applied for a patent in the blockchain, which assigns value. So we got in for $1. So $1, $100. After June, it goes to $500. Then it goes to $1,500, and then next June it goes to $2,500, right? So in other words, that token we bought for $1 will be worth $2,500, right? And so June this year will be the first time we could actually, trade it in. So, and at that point, it's going up to $500. Last night around midnight, the token went to $5,000. So, as you can imagine, Stan and Bootsy, all the people that got tokens are like, right? Now, we can't do anything until June 1st. So we're all walking around like, oh snap, is this it, Stan? Oh, wait a minute, hold up, is my life about to change? But the beauty of it all, though, is it's a reminder of that's how we should look at every day anyway, right?
Yeah.
Even though things look bleak, even though you may not be where you want to be, you're out there grinding, but every day is an opportunity to have a win that you can't even fathom. Again, we couldn't even fathom. So we're focusing on June 1st, where this thing is supposed to go to $500. This joint went up as high as $6,000 last night. So everybody was like, yo, what? But we can't do anything. We can't trade it. We can't do anything with it until June 1st. Anyway.
Wow.
I said all that to say that. But the part also on my walk, Stan, that I finally realized, and I know Stan Bootsy, the thing about a Stan who's in his 60s now is, his body fat percentage is probably still under whatever. He's still ripped up. He's still cut up. He's a dedicated, not only a dedicated person in the fitness world, but also a dedicated person who dedicated his life to fitness. And something that hit me, Stan, finally, after all these years, I told you, getting my 10,000 steps in it. Now I'm doing my 10,000 steps every morning. Mm-hmm. Even if I feel creaky or sore or whatever, is the realization that, and I think, Stan, I'm finally starting to get it, is it's supposed to be a part of your lifestyle. It's not a thing you do for 6 months to lose weight or 8 months to lose weight. It's something you have to incorporate into your life, aches and all, because as we get older, Stan said we leaky. But leaky and creaky. And so, Stan, talk to us about that as far as when we talk about fitness and health. It's not a trendy thing you do at the gym. It's not something you get a trainer and you do for 18 weeks. It's something you got to incorporate to your whole life. I hand the mic to you, Stan.
I call that getting older. You get leaky and creaky. You know what I mean? Your bones start to get stiff. Joints get stiff. You know what I mean? That's a part of aging, man. I'd rather age than to get old. You know how many people in the cemetery that didn't make it to be 62 years old? So, I deal with a lot of younger people, and, they always say, you're getting older or whatever. I say, you just make sure you get here, you just make sure you get here, baby, but it's it's funny. I was talking to my daughter yesterday, and my grandson is 6 years old. He left his expensive coat at school. I said, go easy on him. He's only 6. She says, okay, but Dad, he lost his watch too. He got a watch where he can call me on his phone watch. He can only call 3 people on this little watch. And he calls me on it. He lost it for the second time. I said, and I had to come up with something. I said, well, sweetheart, he's only 6 now. Take it easy on him. You know what I mean? And she said, Dad, you always saying take it easy. I said, sweetheart, he forgot where his watch is again. I said, he's only 6 years old. She said, Dad, don't give me that leaky, don't give me that leaky conversation, because 6 years old don't leak. They're supposed to forget. Their brains are brand new. So fast forward to us who is like in our 50s and 60s. My mom is suffering from dementia, and it's coming on stronger within the last year. So we just made a decision to take the keys from her. But that is a prime example of how we as humans leak, meaning we forget. We leak out the information we used to know, and we forget. How many times have you went in one room to another to do something? When you got in that room, you forgot what you went in there for. That's a form of leaking. We leak, man. We're human. We leak out information, meaning that we forget. So I tell the people, don't be alarmed if you walk it from one room to another and you forgot what you went in there for. You're just human, man. We forget things because we're overloaded with so much in our brains to something's got to go. And what we went from one room to another, you know what I mean, we forgot, but it's still there because you will backtrack. You say, oh, that's what I was supposed to do. And you go back in there and you do what you're supposed to do. But aging is just that process, man. You know, me and you had an interesting conversation a couple of days ago about cholesterol and triglycerides and stuff like that. You know, the tragic that we suffered in my family were strokes and heart attacks, which is crucial. They're so crucial and they're so dangerous because you don't know when they're coming. You know what I mean? Every now and then your body gives you a sign that something's going wrong, something's not right. But especially us men, we overlook that. You know what I mean? And I'm big on men's health. And now that I've got another brother who stroked out and he's paralyzed on the left side, and he's living every day in fear, not knowing when the big one's gonna come. Mm. You know, within the last 10 years, I've had 6 people in my family, relatives, die of strokes. That's a big problem. You know, my aunt, she was normal, seemed normal. All of a sudden, she hit the floor. Her husband was in the basement. He heard a thump. He called her. She didn't say nothing. After like 15 minutes, he went upstairs. She was on the floor, stroked out, brain hemorrhage. She didn't last a couple of weeks, if I can remember. She didn't last no but a couple of weeks. My uncle, who we buried just this past weekend, he was at my brother's funeral 3 weeks ago. The day after that, he stroked out, brain dead. But they kept him alive so everybody can come and get their last wishes, which was very touching, but it was very disturbing, you know. And I have a cousin, he's like 350 pounds. He's like 6'6", big dude. He's oozing with testosterone. He ain't number like 27 years old, big dude. Me and him went back there. They let 2 at a time go back there to say our last wishes at the hospital. Me and him went back there. And let me tell you something here, man. To see my uncle like that, you know, me and him boo-hooed like brand new babies. We boo-hooed, you know, because this was our favorite uncle who didn't take care of himself, but he still was our favorite uncle. Sitting there on a life support with his tongue hanging out of his mouth like a dead rabbit or something, and nothing we can do. Me and my cousin, this 6'6", 360-pound guy, we weeping like babies over my uncle. But when it was time to leave, you know, we took the handkerchief, we took the paper towels, wiped our face, and walked out like it wasn't nothing. You know, that's that macho. That's that man, that thing in us where, okay, we good. But I want the audience to know that men do cry. We just don't let people see us. Men do, we do cry. You know what I mean? I'm working on something, and the title is "Until You've Been Inside a Man," and I'm talking about men's health here now. Until you've been inside a man, you don't know what he wants. You don't know if he cries at night. You don't know if he don't, because nothing comes easy in this life. All nightmares are real. Until you've been inside a man, you don't know how he feels.
Can you elaborate on that, Stan? Or what when you're saying inside of a man, for people who are listening, because I get it, but that we don't know who can fully understand. Can you elaborate a little bit more on what that means to say until you've been inside a man?
We keep our emotions bottled up. We hide things. Right. Why? Because we're supposed to be strong. And in a world that emasculates men like that, you know what I mean? In a world that emasculates men, we tend to hide our feelings. Why? Because it's a sign of weakness. You know, nothing's wrong. We're supposed to be Superman to our children and our wives and our family. You know, I heard Denzel Washington say something that was so profound. He said, mothers, he said, as a woman gets older, her last love of her life in this lifetime is her firstborn son. Think about that. As your mother ages, most likely she's been by herself for years because us men, we die out and leave the women as widows. He said a mother's last love on this earth is her firstborn son. Wow. When I heard that, it moved me because I'm my mom's firstborn son. Forgive me, man, I get emotional with this stuff because it's serious, man. People are dropping dead around me, and I see it. And I thank God that I'm about to be 63 years old. I'm not on any medication. I can still run with the best of them. I'll be 63 in October. And I look at all my sisters and brothers, and every one of them are on 3 or 4 different medications. They laughed at me for 30 years because I took care of myself and I ate this and I ate that while they partied, ate this and then whatever they did whatever they wanted to do. You know? And I think about, and I thank God for allowing me to be who I am, because the younger me was looking out for the older me. Mm. The younger you have to take care of the older you. It's just like investment. You start investing in your 20s and 30s, so when you get 60 and 70, it's there to take care of you when you retire. The younger you has to take care of the older you. If not, the older you are going to suffer, and you're going to die young, and you're going to die diseased. So what I'm saying is, no matter what, no matter how old you are now, there's an older you waiting in the wings. Mm. So if you're 50 years old, you are still the younger you. Start taking care of the older you. Stop eating everything. Start taking care of yourself. Stop being so busy, because busy doesn't mean that you're healthy. Busy, you know what busyness gets you? Busyness, it gets you tired, lethargic, stressed out. You know, because when you're busy, most likely everything you're busy doing is benefit to somebody else first and not you. But if you get active, it benefits you first. And it releases the good endorphins, the good feel-good chemicals. It does a lot for you because you're active. Busyness doesn't profit you anything. It profits everybody else, the children, the wife, the boss, the neighbor, everybody else. But when you're active, it's all about you first. And there's nothing wrong with putting you first, especially since COVID. There's nothing wrong with putting you first. We live in a world where they say selfishness is right. There's a point when you get to that point of selfishness where you say, hold on, I got to take care of me. And once I take care of me, then I'm free to take care of you. That's a point of selfishness that I admire, you know, because nobody's going to take care of you. Your blood pressure, your triglycerides, your cholesterol, everything about you is a number. Remember that you are a number in society's eyes. They treat numbers. They don't treat people. Who's going to treat you? You. You got to treat yourself. You got to take care of yourself. When you go to the doctor, all he's concerned about is where your numbers are. He's looking at a chart. He's looking on a laptop, trying to see where your last numbers were. Everything about you is a number. You are a number when you go into a doctor's office. So what I'm saying to you, don't be a number to yourself.
Stan,
take care of yourself.
So Stan, you know, Stan, in addition to being, again, an amazing trainer, he's a nutritionist. So Stan, Bootsy is a 2-time cancer survivor, stage 4 cancer survivor.
Oh, praise God, brother. There you go.
And
all
so
right.
Stan, take us through the journey when what Bootsy's gone through, and he came back really using quality vitamins and minerals and healthy living. Take us through that journey. What happened to Bootsy from cancer, then when he was cancer free? Take us through that journey. What happens to the body when you go through that?
Man, you know, the first thing that pops in my mind is nature has the answer. Nature has the answer to everything that you can encounter here on the earth. The Creator put everything in the earth for you. Wow. So basically, you know, science medicine has its place, but its place is not above what nature has to produce for you to stay healthy. In Genesis 1:29, God told the first man there ever was, quote, I have given you every green thing and everything that has a seed in it. I've given it to you for your meat. you know. And it's odd that I was speaking to someone. I'm gonna get back. I'm gonna get on you on that in a minute. It was I was speaking to someone, and they were drinking some lemon water, and it had the seeds in it, and she was spitting the seeds out. I said, hey, I said, don't spit that seed out. She said, why not? I said, have you ever seen anybody go to the emergency room from swallowing a seed? She thought about it. She said, no. I said, the seed is what starts everything. All the nutrients that you need in life always starts with the seed. So if the seed is the beginning, that means all the DNA that your DNA needs for proper health is in the seed. A watermelon seed, a grape seed, a lemon seed. Nobody goes to the emergency room because they accidentally swallow a seed, because your DNA and the DNA of that seed are one and the same. And what he did was he went the holistic way, and by the grace of God, only by the grace of God, and
speak on it.
Yes. Yeah, only by the grace of God, brother, that you are still alive and living and healthy. And there's you know, I'm a seminary student too, so forgive me if I quote a few things out of the Holy Bible.
Please but he said, I need all of it. Bring it all, brother.
So you know, that's the grace of God. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of things in the Word of God that takes you back to when you're sick. It tells you what to do. God rest Dr. Sabi. So he was one of my main men. I love Dr. Sabi. You know what I mean?
Too.
But there are so many things that he uncovered that cured and helped a lot of people come back on this side of life. You know, but the grace of God is above everything, man. You know what I mean? Your DNA, you probably come from a good genetic pool, which a lot of times when I talk about genetics and being healthy, that leads me to something called epigenetics. See, just because you're dealt a genetic pool from your parents don't mean that you have to experience that. You can start with something called epigenetics, meaning your lifestyle. Well, epigenetics just means what you stack on top of what you've been given. So if you got a DNA strand of an A+3 and you're trying to get a K+Y DNA strand or something, live a good lifestyle, eat clean, exercise on a regular, de-stress yourself, because stress is a killer.
Man,
stress is a killer. I told my mom, I said, there are 3 things that has to be present for a stroke. And that is high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and high triglycerides, and stress. Those 3 things equal nothing but stroke. And when I look at the lifestyle of my people, they're living that exact lifestyle, just bad genetics, bad lifestyle, and stressed out lives. You know, drinking and carousing. But all I can say is only by the grace of God, brother, that you are alive and you faced cancer twice, and you stepped on it and kept on going.
Yeah. So please let me jump in, because I'm really big on people getting tools from people like you. But before I start, let me just say this. I don't know you. You know what I mean? Like I met you. The level of strength that you showed the first time I met you was something that I don't think I've really ever experienced before. We all think we know what we're going to do in these situations, but the level of calmness that you displayed in the midst of that tragedy was something that I had never experienced. I've never forgotten about you, bro. Like I have never. And I call Mark every day and be like, hey, can I get this person's number? You're going to be one person's number that I'm going to need to call, because, man, you are amazing. Second thing, it was so interesting you talking about how working for somebody else, and then, you know, when you're doing something for yourself, it changes. That literally happened to me 3 days ago. I'm sitting in the house. I'm tired. I get this call from my good friend named Raheem Devon that says, hey, I got these 2 shows in May. I want you to be the music director. Can you just run everything? I want you to make sure that the recording's going to be right. Pick what you want to pick. Man, I woke right up. I sprung up. You know what I mean? Start calling people. I couldn't even go to sleep with just like that's how quick it turned into my head. So I just want you to know that you have been touching points with me. But I'm really big on information. So if there's a young person right now who is 40 years old, he's been up and down. What are the first 3 to 4 things he should do to change his diet? What is the 4 things that he can implement to start thinking about the older self as he moves forward?
Whoa.
Yeah, I do this too. You know,
yeah.
Mark, Mark pays me good money to be able to do stuff like this.
Basically, hey, man.
Hey, Stan, but especially with them new coins, them crypto coins he got.
Oh, hey, I can't wait till June get here. But no, processed foods.
Right.
Processed foods, man.
Elaborate on what, because let me say this. Before I had stage 4 cancer, I did not know none of this information. Can you break down probably the worst 4 processed foods if you're listening right now?
The worst 4? Oh my God, man. Okay. The worst four processed foods. Man, anything in a bag or a box, because it's stripped of all life. It's anything in a bag or box is stripped of all life. It's funny. I was at a restaurant called Crazy Bowls and Wraps, where I go in and I get beans, salmon, and avocado. You know what I mean? Which is, people think it's a weird mixture, but beans, salmon, and avocado is great. Amazing. And they cooked the salmon till it wasn't no life left in it. You know what I mean? So I took it back up there. I said, hey, you're supposed to cook it, not kill it. And the girl looked at me like, kill it. I said, he killed it. It's dried out. There's no omega-3s left in it. I said, it can't do nothing for me. Meaning,
so how should we eat salmon? Okay, so Stan, for people who don't know, because I've never heard this before, how should we eat salmon then? Because I've never heard this before. Let
me tell you something. When you're cooking salmon, it depends on how you cook it. If you cook salmon in the oven, all you got to do is listen for the smell. It'll always tell you when it's ready. When it's ready. Just like fish. If you're cooking something, as soon as you smell it, that means it's properly done. Take it out, or else you're going to overcook it and kill all the nutrients in it. So why would you overcook food and kill the nutrients, and then you eat it thinking it's going to give you life and make you healthy? Nothing dead can keep you alive. If it's dead, it's dead. Throw it out. When you're cooking fish and you start to see the white omega-3s come out of it, that's the omega-3s. That's the good fat oozing out of it. You're killing it. You're killing it. Get rid of it. So back to what you're saying, I told the girl, I said, this is dead. I can't eat this. And she looked at me and I explained to her, when you overcook food, you're killing it. You might as well throw it away. It's good for nothing, because nothing dead will give you life. Everything that you eat still has life in it. Don't overcook it. Cook it just right. That's why I like my fish a little undercooked. A little undercooked. That assures me that it's still packed with omega-3s and all the good fatty acids that I need out in the fish. Processed food, anything in a bag or box, it's been stripped of all life. You know, so the number one food thing I tell people to stop eating is anything in a bag or a box, and fast food. Fast food is dead. There's nothing about fast food that gives you life. It is dead. If you can roll up in there and get it in 2 or 3 minutes, don't eat it. It's dead. Wow. You got these people selling all this dead food, getting rich off selling you something that's no good. So what we do, we educate people on how to cook food, when to eat it, because what you eat and what time of day you eat it is crucial. I got clients now, they haven't had any animal since the last year. I told them on January 1st, I want you to stop eating animal. And we're going to do it for 3 months, 90 days. You know, they didn't like it, but they're doing it, and all of their weight is tumbling down. It's not coming out, it's tumbling down. You know what I mean? Their numbers are good. Why? Because we already know that research has shown that a lot of animal fat and eating a lot of animal causes diabetes also. Why? Well, how is that? It's not a carb. I said, well, how do you think they got that animal fat? How do you think they got that animal up to weight to sell on the market? They fed them full of carbohydrates for 4 or 5 months. It's still what you eat. The seed you sow in your mouth will be the seed you grow. Whatever you put in your mouth is a seed. I don't care if it's liquid or solids. It is a seed, and that seed is going to reap a harvest in you. Whether it be a good harvest or a bad one, you're going to get a harvest.
Okay,
you know,
okay. Let me ask you another question. This is like the new trend in America. I would love to know your perspective. You got the Impossible Burger and you got the Beyond Meat Burger. I would love to know your thoughts on those, because I ain't gonna lie, I've been kind of I stopped it a couple of weeks ago. I didn't realize how much sodium was in it, but I would love to hear your perspective on the Impossible Burger and the Beyond Meat Burger.
I stay away from all imposters. All imposters make you say, I stay away from them. Now, if I'm not mistaken, one of those companies is a black-owned company.
Well, now the black-owned company has a version, yeah.
Has a version. Okay, correct me. Thank you, Mark. But no, anything that's an imposter, I stay away from that. You know, they're full of fillers. They got to fill them with something to make it taste. And how does it taste like a burger? What flavor and what artificial flavoring are you putting in there to make it taste like a burger? You got to be aware. Just because it's on the shelf and say the FDA approved it, the FDA is just as crooked as all outdoors.
Yeah, they're just a private group hired by the government. I've been not knowing that. I've been knew that.
Exactly. So what the FDA approved doesn't move me. But anything that's an imposter, I stay away from it. I need the real deal because I am the real deal. I am a walking 200-pound, 220-pound ball of flesh. Wow. I need proper nutrients so that I can live to be 82 and still walking upright without a cane. Right. I can still live to be 82 without being on medication. You know, I'm going to be up you guys' way in the May, or is it June, Mark?
Yeah, June.
Come in June when hey, Uncle Stan, won't you come in June? Come June 1st, Uncle Stan.
Come in June, baby. Hey, if everything goes right, come in June, baby.
Hey, Mark, one more thing before we end this. We could talk about all kind of stuff, but Mark, when me and you got off the phone the other day, I was doing a study about gallbladder, and I asked you, had you had your gallbladder taken out? And you said no, and I was like, thank God, you know what I mean? And I was doing a study on it, and I'm about to complete the study how taking the gallbladder out. I was speaking at the Belleville Athletic Club last week, and I was speaking to the Silver Sneakers program, which is people 65 and older, right? And it's basically predominantly white. There were a few black people in there. And after the Silver Sneaker program, I came in and set up, and all their faces were looking like, what this young black guy's finna teach me? You know what I mean? What they had that attitude. What this black guy finna teach me?
Young black. Understand?
Beg your pardon? The older men sat back like this, crossed their arms and crossed their legs, right? And the older women, they had their notepads ready and everything. You see the difference? So when I started talking, I had a board up of the digestional tract, and this older gentleman, he says, "Hey, what's that green thing right there?" And I explained to him that it was the gallbladder, and he told me, "Elaborate on that, will you?" I hadn't even got started. I was still setting up. So I stopped and I started talking about the gallbladder. And he said, "So you're telling me that the gallbladder is nothing but a storage bank for waste?" I said, "No, not waste. I call it bile, not waste." So I went in and explained it to him. And these two ladies raised their hand. They're twin sisters. They were 79 years old, and both of them didn't have their gallbladders. And when I got to the point where I asked one lady, I said, "Do you have thyroid issues?" She says, "Yes." "Show the sheet." I said, "Taking a gallbladder out breeds hypothyroidism." You know what I mean? And we were talking about that, and it's so much about the human body, man, that we need to know about. Just the simple stuff from your esophagus to your anus is a long tubular muscle that constantly undulates. You know what I mean? That's the intestinal tract, the whole digestional tract. You mean you can stretch it 24 feet. That's it. And we were talking about all different things, all kinds of things that can go wrong in 24 feet of flesh, you know? And I thought about it and I was like, wow, you know, this is something that led me into deeper research. And that is my creed now, is to teach people about what happens from the time you start chewing food to the time you excrete the food, you know, from the mouth to the toilet. And it's very important because that's where a lot of things go wrong at. From the time that food comes out of your stomach into your duodenum, that gallbladder goes to Washington with the bile from the liver and the digestive juices from the pancreas. It's awesome, you know. So what I wanted to say to you was, I want us to continue talking about the gallbladder or some other time, Mark, and about those triglycerides, because triglycerides is just a measure of how much fat is in the blood, you know. So if you got a lot of fat in the blood, that slows down blood flow, and if that slows down blood flow, that drops your blood pressure, you know. And now your blood pressure is going wild. So hey, man, I want to admonish everybody who's listening or whatever. Hey, We're just a number to the medical community, but you pay attention to your numbers because your numbers are important because one thing can cause a whole bag up an array of other things to go wrong. Mm-hmm. Listen to your body because it's going to always give you a signal that something's wrong.
Right.
Don't run through that stop sign. Stop and pay attention to your body. You know,
Uncle Stan, because we got you. And I got to ask you just one question. Two things I want to know: is there any good forms of beef, in your opinion? Is there any beef that people could help them nutritional wise? Because I hear people say, "Well, steak is good and this ain't." Is there any good forms of beef? Can you answer to that myth?
No.
Okay.
There ain't no good forms of beef, brother. We live in this 2022. We live in a world, man, where everything is rushed. We live in a world where everything's chemicalized. Beef is very bad for you. I don't care where it's at, because before that farmer, I don't care if that cow's grazing out there for 4 years. Before that farmer sends him to market, he's got to fatten him up. You know, they sell it. They sell it per pound. Mm-hmm. They got to fatten him up. This cow weighs 400 pounds. We need him to weigh 700 pounds. Mm-hmm. They're going to fatten him up with what? First of all, they got to give him some growth hormones. Mm. You know, they got to get him the best carbohydrates: wheat, barley, and corn. The corn is loaded with pesticides. Most often, the corn is a genetically modified organism. We're full of GMO. You know, and that's something I try to avoid. But to answer your question, no, I do not believe in beef. I do not. When I was a bodybuilder, back when me and Mark used to train, 22 years. When did you leave St. Louis? 22 years ago, right?
Yep.
19. What was it? 80. What was that? 99. You left here.
Yeah.
My best buddy flew out on my birthday. He left me on my birthday.
He did you like fly back in on June 1st, Stan, and make him respect you for that, man. Come on, Stan.
Yeah. Hey, man, I got to tell you something before. I never knew how important friends were, but he got a great offer up in Baltimore, and he flew out of St. Louis October the 8th, 1999. Damn. And that's when I realized how much of a friend he was to me. Man, my whole life went upside down. So when I heard women talk about, oh, my best friend's gone and life ain't the same, I know that feeling, man. Oh. He's been gone 22 years, man, you know, and my whole life flips upside down. But back when me and Mark were training, we would eat beef, we would eat chicken. You know what I mean? He left St. Louis in a tailor-made suit and everything, looking good. And so
yeah, he was a man tonight. He was a man in St. Louis. I know.
Yeah. We were younger, 22 years younger. We would eat the beef. You know what I mean? We could do that. But nowadays, man, ain't nothing good, man. I try not to eat too much of anything that walk on land, man. I really do.
Okay. Last thing I want to ask you. I'm sorry, Mark. I just want to get Uncle Stan with this. I would love to know your thoughts on sugar alternatives like stevia and all the other ones, because we know that, you know, stevia is a plant. You know, sugar is the number one worst thing people could do. Give me your thoughts on sugar alternatives.
Man, you know, I live in Missouri, where the weather in Missouri is in St. Louis. The weather is so bipolar, man. But one thing about the weather here, we get all the allergens, the pollen, the mold. We get all allergens, right? Mm-hmm. And man, it wreaks havoc on me. But you know what helps me keep it down? I go get the honey that's here in Missouri. I get Missouri honey. Okay. Because the bees in Missouri pollinate that in a specific way to where if I eat it, it helps keep down the allergy attacks. Okay. So I look here, I am a straight stevia person, and I love raw Missouri honey. Okay. Missouri honey only. I think you should get the honey to where you're the state you're living in, because the bees pollinate that plant, and it's the same air that you're breathing. So it helps keep down allergy attacks and everything. But all the other sweeteners, I'm not a fan of them, because they're hard on the pancreas. And anything that's hard on the pancreas, it provokes the pancreas to produce too much or too little insulin. Okay. And if you're getting too much or too little insulin, you're going to have issues. So all those artificial sweeteners are really hard on the pancreas, which wreaks havoc on the kidneys, which creates another form of diabetes. And one day, Mark, when you come back, I would like to just for a few minutes talk about type 3 diabetes, which they don't teach on. the medical community don't speak on it. It's called type 3 diabetes. And I see people around me suffering from it every day. But think about that. What is type 3 diabetes? We heard of type 1 and type 2. What is type 3 diabetes?
Well, Stan,
you know, I wish we had time, man, because I can fire off on that right now and have a good time. You know?
Well, Stan, so you can. We have a question about your take on gluten-free diets, and then let's wrap up with type 3 diabetes.
Gluten-free diet. Hey, hold on a second. Chef, is breakfast ready? Hold on, I'm about to eat some gluten-free toast, right? I'm about to eat some. She said, yeah. Look here. I'm gluten-free. Gluten-free works. It works. It's not just a fad. What happened was we woke up to the gluten, and we're coming in contact with so many things with gluten, and people have gluten. They're gluten sensitive and everything. But a gluten-free diet really works if you work it. You got to work it. I got some gluten-free bread in there. The best thing about this bread, I've tried about maybe 3 or 4 different times. This gluten-free bread I found at Walmart in the gluten-free aisle. It is great when you toast it. In coconut oil, man, look here. Perfect. But I do gluten-free, and when I go on, I do gluten-free. Sometimes I say I'm not going to do gluten for 30 days. Look at my abdominal area gets much more defined. You know, my energy levels are up, you know, but I don't have a problem with gluten. I don't have a problem with gluten. I just know when I eat too much gluten, I'm not as defined in my core area. And then I like to stay quiet.
So Stan, why do we have such a, was it always there? Are there more people who are sensitive to peanuts and gluten? Where did that all come from?
It's always been there, Mark. People are more sensitive because of pesticides in the food reaping havoc on the digestional tract. And next thing you know, the digestional tract can't handle certain things like gluten. So you start just like being lactose intolerant. Having a problem with gluten is like having a problem with lactose. Lactose has always been in the milk. But as we get older, the genetic system takes a beating, and our digestional tract gets in it. It gets we want to call it dysbiosis, but it's not pure dysbiosis, but it's a form of dysbiosis. And dysbiosis is just simply a malfunction of the intestinal tract. We can stack a lot of different meanings on dysbiosis, and we can say, well, IBS is a form of dysbiosis. The word dysbiosis just means something's malfunctioning in the intestinal tract. That's it. And there's many things that malfunction, but gluten has always been there. Lactose has always been there, bro. But it's our lifestyle that reap havoc and mess up our intestinal tract. And now we can't handle gluten. Now we can't handle lactose. There are a lot of things that people can't handle because of lifestyle and what our our intestinal tract has been bombarded with over the years. You want me to tell you something that's very dangerous that they peddle to kids? What's those little things in the bag? What is it? Takis or you know those? What is it?
Gummies?
No. What is it, Chelsea? What's the name of it? Those little things that kids eat that turn their tongue all orange and everything. It's in a bag. It's called Takis.
I know what you're talking about.
Takis. Let me tell you something. I've never seen something more dangerous than that thing that's come out in the last 10 years. What? Those things are very dangerous. Don't let your kids eat those, man. They will tear up their intestinal tract. Your kids will have all kinds of intestinal and digestive issues eating those things. I ate one before and I just looked at it and I studied all the ingredients in it. I was like, this is illegal.
Wow.
It is, man. And kids love them. You know why? Because all the chemicals in them, it touches their pleasure sensors. You ever give a kid a Dorito or a Cheeto or one of those Takis? Next thing you know, they're like this here. They're happy. You know what I mean? They're moving all over the place. Why? Because their pleasure sensors are being tingled and tantalized, but they're dangerous. And stuff like that lead to ADD. You notice they man, give a kid a Dorito. Doritos are dangerous. I had a weakness to Doritos.
Me too.
I had to get myself off of them. You know how I did? Just don't bring them in the house. Don't bring it in the house. And your kids introduce a lot of stuff to you in the house. Don't bring it in the house, man. If you bring it in the house, you're going to eat it. Why? Because that's where you're most comfortable at home. So when you're sitting around all comfortable, you go, the next thing you know, you're like, I'll try this. Next thing you know, you're eating it. Doritos are very addictive, man. Just like Cheetos, Puffs, all that stuff. Stay away from it. It's poison.
So Stan, we're gonna bring you back and do the type 3 diabetes. Can we?
Man, we got to talk about that.
Man,
next week, Uncle Stan.
Right now, I'm at home, man. I ain't too long got out the bed. We finna have tornado warnings here in the Midwest. oh yeah, it's pouring down outside right now. So I didn't go to the office. So when I come back on, I'll be at the office. I'll be in my zone, and I'll be ready. You know, actually, I just got on a shirt and a hat. I don't have any bottom.
Wow, Stan. Oh wow.
Okay, Uncle Stan, wilding out. Stan, hey man, we love you. We love you, bro. We'll talk to you next week.
Stan,
hey man, I love you guys. Stay safe.
Uncle Stan, I am the nephew that you never knew you had. I appreciate you, bro.
Hey, give him my info, Mark. We'll talk later.
Please. Thank you, Uncle Stan.
And my lion Bootsy Stan to get you fired up, won't he?
Man, I have never seen nobody like him before.
Dude.
Because he's one way. He's one way. He seems like in all situations. And now I'm looking at you different. Because why did you leave him 20 years ago like that, Mark? I'm sorry.
Yo, and let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, Bootsy. Stan, so you can imagine how emotional I was when Stan came to visit. I was in I think the Big Fat Morning Show was still around. Stan comes to visit, and you see how he is. And we said our goodbyes. He drove in. He saw a concert, Neo, and so and so and so and so. Then he hits me back. Hey man, I need to talk to you. Now we just left. I think I told you this story. I think he just left, and we were downtown Baltimore. He just drove away, and then he just left. He said, "I got to tell you something." He turns around and he comes back, and he said, and he was driving back to St. Louis, and he said, "Man, I can't leave without telling you I'm worried about your health. I saw how you were walking around."
When you told me that.
Remember that? I saw how you were walking around, and the way you're moving. And if I need to come out here, if I need to fly out here once a month to train you, bruh, I'll do it because I'm worried. Wow. Dude, talk about crying like a baby. Because you know what I mean? It's like, that's what brotherhood's about, right?
Yeah, yeah. And those relationships, unfortunately, in our community are not always normal. That's not always the standard. And they definitely don't last 25 to 30 years. So, man, wow.
And also, Bootsy, I feel bad because... So I leave. You know what's crazy, Bootsy? What's crazy is Stan and then Tony Scott. I did mornings with Tony Scott in St. Louis.
Right.
So I had these intense relationships with cats who would be my big brothers, right?
Right.
And it's funny, they both are in the same age group, my big brothers. And I have to say, man, so Stan was, you know, not only my workout partner, my trainer, my friend, and we had this close relationship. And then Tony was my morning show co-host.
Right.
And so they both had to be supportive in sending me off, wishing me the best. I remember, you know, I was training when I had the booty call rotation going. And I would, you know, bring the young ladies I was dealing with and bring them to Stan would meet them. When Allison got into me, he's like, you got to marry that girl. Right. And so, and like you said, Bootsy, it's when I left, it impacted Stan's life and Tony's life. Tony, both of their lives spun out of control. Isn't that weird? They both had a thing kind of spun out of control because
the
of
support system, the friendship there.
Right.
Yeah,
And that one little thing switched them up. And something else that was crazy.
Wow. I've been there. So, you know, I definitely know. You know, that's the thing about life is sometimes you don't really value the relationships or don't know how good these relationships are until it's kind of uprooted sometimes. And you never know what direction life would take you. And you never know where you go in a direction can take them. So I've been there. Trust me, man.
And also with Stan, who is obviously, you can kind of get an idea of what kind of physical guy, you know, he's like a walking physical guy. I also felt bad, Bootsy, because he was getting ready to come out to my wedding, and was training. We used to run hills, and he damaged his Achilles, his Achilles, and to this day, he basically snapped his Achilles tendon training. And so, in addition to me not being there, he was training to come out for my birthday. He injured himself, which still affects him today. So it's just crazy how life works. So first of all, it's a reminder of how we all, like you say, need to value our relationships with everybody in our life, because tomorrow's never promised. And just really appreciate it. So Katrina says, you want to share? I couldn't because he's not in the group. So Katrina, I'm sorry. We're also on the Allison and Mark page, and also on YouTube, Reinventing Marc Clarke. You can share that link with him if you want to share. And you're absolutely right. I think you must be watching on the group page with the Reinventing Marc Clarke group. But yeah, if you can also go to YouTube, Marc Clarke Media or Reinventing Marc Clarke, and share the show. And Katrina, I appreciate you for sharing and wanting to share it and making it public, because I think that's the thing I noticed, Bootsy. It's so funny how life works. So I say Uncle Stan because we
he has Uncle Big Brother vibes.
Exactly. And right. and it's funny how you say, so Stan is a genius, and he lives the lifestyle, right? But Stan, just like many of us, he may jack up a word or two. And so I had to laugh how things change, because there was a time, if I'm honest, where I would be like, I want to feature Stan, but because he might have said something, something incorrectly, I was hesitant.
Right.
And then now, in the world of these platforms, now it's more powerful if you're your authentic self.
Yeah, because he's passionate. You could tell everything he said, he got passionate about.
Exactly.
He was intense about it.
And you know what's so crazy? Also, when I realized, I was listening to Protect Your Neck the other day, Wu-Tang Clan, and also I realized, Bootsy, how the rap started with my generation, but you guys are really like enthralled in it, because I guess it was really that key part was when you guys were in middle school, high school, right? So it hits a little different. I was in college, and so I'm kind of trying to go back to recapture, because so it wasn't like, it wasn't as influential for me as it was, I think, for you guys. But anyway, so I go back to the beginning of Wu-Tang, Protect Your Neck, and I had to laugh. So you have these genius rappers who weren't necessarily educated traditionally. Mm-hmm. So they may not, you know what I'm saying? They may not speak the King's language, King's English perfectly, but they had a gift of words.
Right. Now,
it just made me realize.
Let me tell you something interesting. Have you ever seen their Showtime documentary?
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Man, first of all, I had always appreciated them. But that gave me a deeper appreciation, because I didn't know what it was like to live on Staten Island, to live on an island, to be isolated, where your thoughts come from. You know what I mean? Man, and I do think, like PJ Morton is, I don't know if Wu-Tang is really appreciated as well.
And I just, the thing that really hit me, Bootsy, is I'm listening almost like a first-time listener. Oh, wow. And that's the beauty of rap. And I think, we got away from it, but back then especially, these young people were at the edge of creativity, but also the talent is undeniable. You are, and that's why rap is so powerful. And I think why it enthralled so many kids, especially white kids who have no idea. Like you said, I'm from Springfield, Illinois, but listening to them, I'm not only, you got the comic book, Chinese
karate theme thing.
Karate theme.
Yeah, because I ain't gonna lie, it took me a minute to figure that out as well.
Yeah, superhero, but the words that they're using, the way they describe, and in a way, Bootsy, it's not polluted by proper English. It's not polluted by let's be honest, not polluted by the folks that stole us and made us enslaved.
Right.
It's almost pure. It's basically more pure than somebody who has a degree from in English from an English department.
That's fact. You know what else Wu-Tang do not get credit for? They do not get credit. They were the first rap group to have their own urban brand wear. Like, remember, it was Woo wear first, then it was Rocker wear, then it was Chom, you know what I mean? They were so, as a group of people, just, you know, of having a logo and a brand. They don't get the respect and the credit for that. For rap, hip hop, and urban clothing wear. They revolutionized that. It just goes to show you how powerful, or you don't realize till you go back and see it. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say you're right. The visionary, all of it. Visionary, creativity, image, marketing,
creativity, but also
concept.
That whole concept. But you know, the other thing I think that they should get credit for is that they were literally like 9 different personalities. They were like a big bowl. They were like mixed vegetables. You know, if you look at them separately, you're like, I don't know. But when you put mixed vegetables together in some soup, you'll realize the nutritional value. Everybody could connect with somebody in Wu-Tang. I like Old Dirty Bastard. I like You God. Like, you know, I didn't necessarily connect with Method Man like everybody else did. But what I appreciated was they all were able to survive and live with these big multiple personalities and can come together as one. That I don't know if we're going to see happen again either.
Oh, man, crazy. And so, once again, Bootsy, another exciting week. And Bootsy.
It felt like, hey, bro, it felt like we was only on here for 15 minutes. You know that, right?
Bootsy. And again, when I was laughing because when I said that, we're expecting da-da-da, and I got that text at 11:59, I was like, oh, because the thing about
I'd have had a heart attack. I would have had a heart attack. I know I would have.
So. Well, the thing is, you know, until the date comes, you know how it is, until you feel something, you still feel like, oh my goodness. But the beauty of this is when I talked to Alex Slocum, his goal was to create a token, a form of money where Black folks, not just Black folks, everybody, but he happened to be African American, can change their lives.
Is it too late for me to get in? But go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, it's not. And it looks like he's on the right path. And no, it's not, my brother. Again, if you are watching this live, thank you so much. Make sure you have subscribed to the channel. Make sure you follow Young Bootsy Vegas. Bootsy, what is your social media so people can hop on you?
At Bootsy Vegas, and on Facebook, it is my real name, Sally Williams, SALIH Williams, but everything else is Bootsy Vegas. If you type in Bootsy Vegas, everything of mine will come up.
It's interesting. And so, Bootsy, it's Sally, not Salah. I always say Salah or Sali.
It's Sali. So it's really pronounced Salee, Sali.
Is that a Muslim name?
Yes. No. Well, it's Arabic. It's from the Arabic Bible.
Wow.
And one of my biggest worst regrets is, you know, my mom died when I was young, so I never really got to have a conversation about what it meant and all that. I kind of had to research it because as I got older, people would ask, "What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean?" And so yeah, but it came from the Arabic Bible. You know, I have a twin brother too as well, so his name is Saeed. So we're Sali and Saeed, and a lot of people in my family names start with S.A. So my son name is Sanchai. Santchai. So I just kept the tradition of SA in it. And that's a whole nother meaning as well that you can research.
Well, I love the fact when you just said that, Bootsy, I just had a thought. I mean, when you say conversation in Bootsy Vegas, I can just imagine the conversation that you would have with your mom. Wow, yeah, man. And she passed when how old was she?
14.
Oh, 14. You were 14. Yeah. Okay, so you did have conversations with her. She had the young Bootsy.
Yeah, I was, and mind you, she was also a choir director, so I didn't really do, and she was a teacher. So what she had told me before she passed that I was going to be like her. She literally told me, but she was like, "You're going to be just like your mom." And I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm in a go-go band. That's going to be great. I'm doing go-go music." But as you can see how my life has turned out, you know,
you're a teacher.
I'm a teacher. You know what I mean? I'm an educator, and I do music, and I use all these platforms. You know what I mean? That literally came from my mom. And this intellectual side that came from my mom as well, that I never got to have a discussion. But that's going back to, we were talking about appreciate these relationships, these friendships, why I'm even appreciative of you, you know, even what we're doing here, because people who may not know, I tried to get out of this and you made me stay. Remember, I was like, Mark, I don't really, you know, I could just, you know, I could be the producer, but what we have been doing has been really expanding me as well in journalism, just expanding my mind. And yesterday was a bucket list thing for me because I'm a huge PJ Morton fan. I met him twice and had conversations, and I didn't know if he was going to remember me or not. So when he walks on and says, "Hey, Boosie, what's up, man?" Like, I was like, "Oh, okay." So he did, because I've had a conversation with him before.
I love it.
Him and Raheem Devon are really close. Him and Ayanna Crawley are really close. They
I love it, man. I was my walk today. I was listening to Les Brown, and number one, I laughed because Les Brown has been doing it a long time,
man,
right?
Since the 90s.
And he's still doing it. I think he's 70 something. He's 76, but Les is still doing it. He's died up. He's doing his thing. So a lot of times, sadly, in our communities, especially the Black communities, and I'm going to stop doing it, we have a tendency to throw people away. It's weird. I don't even understand it, Bootsy. Like we don't even. I don't think we really understand
and value.
In value, when somebody has carved out a niche, we will throw that shit away as if it's nothing. Les Brown, Willie Jolly, people that we actually know, musician. We do it musician-wise all the time. I listen to Chuck Brown for whatever reason. We hold him up. we do hold up Chuck, thank God.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, so I've got many motivational speakers. I decided to listen to Les Brown. And I was listening, I was laughing, I was crying, and I was just again, Bootsy, remembering how amazing he is.
He started that lane, Mark. If people remember, he was like the first real Black motivational speaker I can remember. But he created that lane before.
And Bootsy, why? And we're in the lane, but still, I wasn't really as Birdman says, I was not putting the respect on his name that I should have. And so one of the things he said, number one, Bootsy, you and I are kind of doing the same thing. This is our lane. This is our talent. What are we doing? We first of all, we just need to keep growing it and expanding our talent sets. I was thinking voiceover. Why aren't we doing that? Voiceover, speaking, you're teaching, every aspect of it, social media, we need to be masters of it because it's our box anyway. It's hand down our box, and we know that. Man. And the only thing keeping us from some things are us putting hard work towards it, number one. Number two, I thought about our show. And I think yesterday's show was a prime example where, again, you can't look at something on the surface. You have to be looking at what you're building and what we're building. Right. And he does the analogy, he always does the analogy of the, I won't go into it, but at the end of the day.
But let me say this, I'm going to give you an interesting point about PJ Morton. I think that may have been the most open, excited, and candid he'd been in an interview. I have watched hundreds of it. No, Mark, I've watched 100. Yeah. I don't know if people ever got to the core of St. Augustine, New Orleans, the Black church. Like, he does not do what he did yesterday. He does not do that often. I've been around him. I've seen him. I was around him when he did not know he was around him. I knew his record company people. I knew he has never done what he did yesterday.
And so what we have to remember, is that yesterday we had a premier artist. It was an amazing interview.
He stayed 10 minutes longer.
We got amazing supporters. Now the numbers are 1 million people watching our videos. Not yet, but it's what we're building. You know what I mean? That's the thing. I think you and I are similar. We don't really trip on numbers. We don't really trip like that because we know the value. But it's a great reminder, though. It's a great reminder that you just keep on grinding because you never know who's watching. And yesterday, you know who was watching?
Who?
Record labels were watching.
Right.
The industry was watching.
His fans was watching.
His fans were watching, and you never know. And that's why. But again, we're not caught up on it. But it's just a great reminder. The screen may say 8 viewers, but who knows who's watching at all times. And that's not just with your show. That's not just with us. That's everybody under the sound of our voice.
Right.
At work, in your path. Like this thing, today I posted it on Instagram. This 10,000 step thing, Bootsy, has got me like I dread a part of it because I am achy sometimes when I'm walking and you kind of
leaky and creaky. I'm sorry.
Leaky and creaky. But every day it's a motivation, and it's almost. I saw my neighbor. I told you about that neighbor that's always running. She was running the same path. I had to laugh, and what she doesn't know, she motivated me because rain, snow, sleet. She's running. I'm going to see her running every day because she has built this into her DNA of life. And that's what I'm building this into my DNA of life. And just like we're doing this show, it's our DNA of life.
Because these 10 a.m. morning calls have been really great for me. Like, I know no matter what, I got to be somewhere stationed. Because as you know, with journalism, you got to be mentally ready as well.
Right.
You know what I mean? We don't necessarily know who's coming. We don't know what mood they're going to be in. We don't know if they're going to feel like talking. We don't know if they're going to give us 1 or 2, 3 word responses. Or what PJ Morton did, he went all around, you know what I mean? Went all around the world. Talking about his first white friend, his black friend that went, like, you just never know.
That bar he said right there gave me some light because it helped me understand all these years, Bootsy. I was like, why am I'm comfortable just in any crowd. I don't care. You know, I don't even, a lot of people I notice when it's black or white or whatever, they're very conscious of it. They'll be like, oh, for me, you know, give me the mic in front of me. I don't care. I don't look at it that way. But that's a huge advantage in this world, right? Right. And it was the first time I was like, thought about it, because I thought about that stat they always talk about, the 4th grade piece and how they kind of stamp you. And that's like basically kids who are basically 4th grade, especially kids of color, they're sending you to print. They're building prisons based on that 4th grade number. And
that is a fact. As a former school teacher, they do emphasize if you don't have a certain amount of skills by the 4th grade, that is a fact. They do emphasize that about
that part right there.
Yeah, that after the 4th grade, if you cannot internalize her, that is a fact.
And the crazy part is that's when busing started. And I remember I was chopping it up with my white friend's parents. We're talking about Rodney Dangerfield. I was thinking, you know, you look back, I was like, I'm in the 4th grade talking to these girls. It was funny. One of my friend's parents, she was you know, busing. So it was the first, little did I know it, she was a tomboy, you know, she was gay, who knew? But I would spend time with her parents talking about things, and I was like, what's the 4th grader doing? Because, you know, black folks, grown black, well, back then, you ain't talking to nobody's grown black parents.
Right. That.
We just didn't do it. It wasn't how it worked. Wow. But busing started, I was over there. Yeah. So anyway, I'm talking to Mel's parents, you know, about movies and all kind of stuff.
Wow.
Little did I know was setting me up for life. But anyway, we're going to wrap things up. Sheridan, I see you. What's up, Edward? Gigi. All right, tomorrow, same bat time, same bat station. Mr. Vegas, have a great one.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, sir. I appreciate this ride, man. I enjoy it every day, bro.
We having fun on this ride.
Yes, we are.
But there's never been a time in my life he didn't bring me through. I changed the words. If anyone should ever write my life story, for whatever reason, there might be. You'll be there.
this can't be